Alright guys, how's it going? I'm back. Alright, you ready? Alright, let's get this going. Day 2. Love is kind. We'll jump back into Ephesians here, okay? Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving each other. Each other. There we go. Uh, you know, so I got this friend. I have this friend from New York, right? And after I talked to him, I have this like New York accent for a little bit. It's because we talk, and this guy, man, he, um, I don't know how he does that. So I'll probably read this thing like, "Be kind to one another." I don't even know how to do it. Like, uh, forgiving each other. So, I see my friend Anthony. He does these videos on the church in the time of the virus, and he goes like this: Take 2. All right, let's restart now. Day 2. Day 2 on the Love Dare Challenge. Love is kind. Um, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ has also forgiven you. This comes from Ephesians 4:32. Love is kindness in action. If patient, if patience is how love reacts in order to minimize the negative circumstances, kindness is how love acts in order to maximize the positive circumstances. I love that. You know what I'm saying? There's something about it when you could like both sides. I like that a lot. Patience avoids a problem where kindness creates a blessing. One is preventative, the other is proactive. Um, these two sides of the love are the These two sides of love are the cornerstones on which many of the other attributes that we'll discuss are built. Love makes you kind, and kindness makes you likable. And for some of us, we need some kindness. You know what I'm saying? Maybe others of us don't want to be that likable, but you still need to be kind. I know. I know. I've got a lot of friends. I don't know why I talk about like friends a lot. I use these examples. Um, I've got a friend I was talking to. I was like, he says, so many people like you. I was like, well, thanks. That's kind. I appreciate that. And then he says, I couldn't do it. I says, couldn't do what? And he told me, he said, I couldn't have that many people like me because I don't like to be around people. Maybe you're one of these people who just, I don't like to be around people. But that's not a reason not to be kind. Someone once told me, one of the best things you leave behind is your legacy. I would hate for someone to say, Sal's a crotchety old man, he's all salty. Uh, and my buddy agreed with me. He says, yeah, even though I don't like people coming over, I think people are all right. I just don't dig them. And when I die, I would like them to say, yeah, he was a good guy. I liked him a lot. He was fine. He was fun. Hey. um, but I think that comes from kindness and patience and understanding. Just because you're a kind, patient, understanding person that everybody likes doesn't mean that you have to always be hanging out with people all the time. Yeah. All right. The Bible keys and the importance of kindness. Are you ready? Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart, so that you will find favor and good repute in the eyes of God and man. That comes from Proverbs 3 and 4. I think, and the book talks about this. Like I said, we're on day 3, so I'm just trying to catch up a little bit. I think, let me read it actually. It'll say it better than I do. The reason I think it is probably because I read it in this book, even. I'm not that clever. Sorry, there are some dogs barking out here. Uh, but be kind. Don't say nothing about it. It's fine. It says kindness thinks ahead. It takes initiative. There are no requests required. It doesn't sit there waiting to be prompted or coerced to do something kind. The kind husband or wife will be the one who goes first. And here I'm going to insert the kind person, the kind Christian. If we see someone needs something, we should help them. Down here in Lancaster, it's a weird, the way that I live in a city called Lancaster, but it's in South Carolina. So, from my history and the way that I read the word, the way that they say the name of their city here is very different than Lancaster. It's like Lancaster. Sorry, doesn't matter. Anyhow, where I live, there is a very large homeless population. And there's a lot of things that us Christians can do to help those guys out, we can be a light, we can help, and we need to do it smart, you know what I'm saying? I've just recently done something that probably wasn't that smart, and it came to bite me in the tail, but that's okay, yeah. I think if Christians are kind, and parents are kind, and husbands and wives are kind, then we can make a difference, you know what I'm saying? Those of you who know me know I'm about making a difference. I want to make a difference in my kids' lives. I want to make a difference in my wife's life. I want to make a difference in your life. I want to make a difference in the lives of everybody I'm around. Even if it's just by saying, hey man, you look good today. Or, hey, are you feeling okay? Would you like to stop and have some coffee? Speaking of which, hold on a second. See that I almost drink like a rich person. Not a rich person, but you know what I mean. Like the people who are in the videos who drink their wine with their pinky off. But that's actually not what I'm doing. It's just a really big cup, so I have to balance it with my pinky. Okay. Let me get back to the book. This is why the last video was like 10 minutes long. Let me just go over these things as well. So it says, kindness thinks ahead. So kindness takes the initiative. It doesn't wait to be asked. But here's the other one. Gentleness. Kindness acts in gentleness. And this is big. When you're operating out of kindness, you're careful how you treat your spouse or whoever, never being unnecessarily callous, never being unnecessarily callous or harsh. You're sensitive, you're tender. Even if you need to say hard things, you'll bend over backwards to make the rebuke as easy on them as possible. You'll speak the truth in love. So, dudes, guys, men, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? Men need to be men. I think that's good that we're men. We're meant to be manly men, but we're not meant to be jerks. You know what I'm saying? Even when you need to say something hard, or when you need to take a stand, we can do it in love. And that's what it's saying. Be gentle. I don't know, but I'm assuming that people who know me aren't like, oh, Sal, yeah, he's a whatever. I don't go around trying to act manly or nothing like that. I just, in fact, I go around trying, I think, to understand people. I would hope as Christians we're all doing that to our families and others. Gentleness. Helpfulness. Being kind means you meet the needs of the moment. If it's housework, then you see something, you get busy on it. Hey, this is a challenge for COVID, right? I mean, we all have more time in the house to help one another. So it's like, hey, do you need help with the dishes? I can chill and I can play on my telephone, or I can help with the dishes or the laundry or for me, like building a trench so that the rain doesn't sink my camper. Willingness. Kindness inspires willingness. No, kindness inspires you to be agreeable. Instead of being obstinate, reluctant, stubborn, you cooperate. You stay flexible. Rather than complaining and making excuses, you look for creative ways to accommodate and adjust. Now, I think this in general is a really good idea because it's teaching my girls resilience. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this happened. Oh, crud, the plans are changing. Let me move over this way. I'm good. I'm good. Life's not going to get me down. And don't let life get other people down. You know what I'm saying? Help them be resilient and adjust. You be resilient and adjust. And then together you'll be like Bruce Lee said, water. You know what I mean? So here's what I like. I love the Bible, but check this out. Jesus described love in this parable, and it's found in Luke chapter 10. So here's a little tidbit about Sal. Luke is my favorite of the Gospels. I love the way it's laid out. I love everything about Luke. Okay? But here we go. A Jewish man is attacked by robbers, and then he's left for dead on a road. Two religious leaders walked by, and they were all respected amongst their people. And they walked by and they didn't stop. They chose not to stop. They kept going, and they were too busy. They were too important. They were too fond of their clean hands. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm reading kind of sort of out of this, but I'm just going to tell you the story somewhat out of my head. It's the same one. Look it up in Luke 10. So once there was this guy, right? He was a good guy. And he was a good guy. Whoa, check that hair out. So let me put this back on real quick. So once there was this good guy, and for one reason or another, when he was walking down the road, bam, some robbers came and they beat him up. They took everything he owned. They beat him up bad, stripped him down, and left him in the road. All of a sudden, these guys come by. This one man, he's a real religious guy, and he walks by and he's like, "Oh, there's another one of my people." But you know what? No, he had something happen to him or something like that. So I'm gonna go around it because I can't get involved in this. So he went around it, right? And then another guy came by. Maybe he wasn't as religious. He was a good person though, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he goes by. And the same thing, he says, "No, you know what? I don't have time for this right now. I got to go over to Aunt Becky's. And I got to go. I don't have time to help dude out. Someone will help him. This is a lot what we do when we see someone on the side of the road, right? You know what I'm saying? Like their car broke down. And we're like, I just don't have time right now. I got to go. And it goes through a couple of examples like that. And when you read it, if you actually are, when I read it, let me throw it this way. When I read it, if I look at it objectively, and I say, do I do that? Have I done that? So then, all of a sudden, this guy comes by. He's a Samaritan. In this book, they're talking about a Jew because Jesus was talking about him, right? So the Jew got hurt. Everyone's walking by the Jew. A Samaritan comes by. Samaritan Jews at that time, they didn't get along at all. This is like the 8th episode of the video of the series The Chosen. If you don't know that, you should check it out. The 8th episode, Jesus calls the woman at the well, and she's a Samaritan. So the Samaritan comes by, and even though that the Samaritans are hated by the Jews because they're unclean, they're not, there's a lot of reasons they don't like them. This is like these two tribes that don't get along. The Samaritan comes by and goes, "Oh man, there's a guy in the road who's hurt." He gets this guy, gives him some clothes, throws him on his donkey, because apparently he's walking around with a donkey, and he takes him to the next town, which is probably a Jewish town, because the Jewish guy probably wouldn't have been walking around in Samaria. He puts him up in this hotel. He gives the hotel guy some money. He says, "Take care of this guy. Anything that he needs, you give it to him. I'll be back and I'll pay for it." That's kindness, man. What if we could be that, Now, I know I'm talking about my kids, and this is the Father's Missionary Journal. But a lot of the times I think about, maybe we could do this to everybody. Like, I should treat everybody good. You know what I'm saying? So should you. It says, where racism caused strife and decisions, that wasn't the right word, divisions, caused strife and divisions, one act of kindness brought two enemies together. By taking the initiative, this man demonstrated true kindness in every way. He was gentle, he was helpful, he was willing, he was patient, he was loving, he was kind. You know what I'm saying? So, because this video is 15 minutes long, that's probably longer than it should be. I love this book. I'm going to jump over to the dare. Okay, so this is day 2, guys. On day 2, if you're doing this with us, here it is. Here's the challenge. In addition to saying nothing negative to your spouse or whoever you're doing this with, do at least one expected gesture as a kind act, as an act of kindness. Bam! This is where I wanted to get. This has been huge in our family. I've got something coming up because tomorrow, I don't know if it works though, if it's unexpected. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. But she's kind of going to be expecting something, right? So does that work? Well, I don't know. So here's how our family has kind of sort of changed. Like I said, everyone's taken this very seriously. The girls have been doing so much. This is for you parents out there. The girls have been so kind that sometimes they've been too kind. But Hadassah, so we work, since coming back to the U.S., we were taking our time, and then the COVID happened, so we're still here. Now we're in South Carolina. But we were helping out on the farm. We were working on the farm. We were building tiny houses, and all of the girls were involved in this, right? And Hadassah had saved up a little more than $100. And I have no idea where this came from. The money I do, but the idea to buy a Furby. This is one of the challenges of being a missionary in the United States. You don't know where these ideas come from. You're like, what? I thought you've grown up in third world countries and you were in Africa. How do you even know what a Furby is? But she does. We got a Furby. So she decided, I would like a Furby. And so I told her, well, I don't think that's a good use of your money to buy a Furby. And so we sat and we talked about it. But she was dedicated to buying a Furby. But what's more, she came over to the side and she's like, hey, I want to buy my sister a Furby. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, it's an act of kindness. And then we can play together. We can have our Furbies talk to one another. Dude, man, so side note, so we're like, all right, cool. We had the talk about, do you need it or do you not need it? And then we don't want to hamper kindness. So we went to eBay and we put a bid in for $7. Now this Furby is like $100 Furby. We put a bid in for $7. We got a Furby for like $7. She got a Furby for $7. I didn't buy it, you know what I'm saying? But it was awesome. So in that, it costs like $15 for shipping and handling, which I think might be a lot, but I don't know either, because I don't know. And Hadassah's like, oh man, that's $50. It's like $56. I don't know. Somehow, 2 of them for that much, and it was like a few dollars over what she wanted to spend. And my other daughter comes up, my oldest, Mila. She came up and she's like, Dad, just tell her it's $50. I'm going to throw some money in there too. Don't tell her this is my random act of kindness. That's like, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, right? Now, imagine if we did this kind of stuff all the time. And I mean, this kind of stuff is starting to happen a lot around here, which is cool. Just random acts of kindness. I'm walking by and the dishes are done, or without having to ask, you know. And man, what? Dream with me here, okay? What would it be like? What would it be like if people did this in general, all over the place, just random acts of kindness? Beautiful. It would be beautiful. And if we did it to people we didn't agree with, even, that's different, right? You know, if we did it to people who we disagree with, like, oh man, that dude there, that guy there, nah. But if we said, that guy there, yeah, I'll help him out. And you do help him out. Maybe all of a sudden that guy won't be so disagreeable. Maybe all of a sudden he'll start listening to what you have to say. And you can do the same thing to him. It doesn't mean you have to accept it and celebrate it. But it opens up dialogue. It makes friends. It lifts us all up together, right? That's a big deal, I think. Kindness. Day 2. I mean, this video is like 21 minutes long. So that's a long video. But, so I'm not going to, so I guess I'm saying that to let you know that I'm not going to keep it up. But this challenge has been huge for the family, okay? I mean, this challenge has been a game changer. I'm so proud of my family. I am so proud of them. And they're doing so good that it's challenging me to do better. You know, I'm like striving to find ways to be kinder to them and others a little bit, because I'm like it's my kindness max. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I can be any kinder than this. Yeah. So there's day 2. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.